Many of you have been waiting for the outdoor Wyze Cam, and today I'm going to show you your first look at it and the FCC filing, as well as some insights that I have into what this device looks like, it's capable of, and what we can expect from the Wyze Outdoor Cam as it comes out very soon. Hello automators, thanks for tuning in again. I'm Brian from Automate Your Life, and today I'm going to save you time by bringing it all together on the Wyze Outdoor Cam, preparing you for this system coming and letting you know what this device is going to be all about and how it's going to impact your smart home. Now, what we have today is an FCC filing that has become very public, and it was back in November of 2019 that this filing was put in. Now, the point about that, or why I'm talking about that right now, is because it could actually change a little bit. We know Wyze for the last couple of months has been in their second round of testing, so there could be modifications to this, but I think we can look at what we have today as the basis for what we are going to get. Now, I'm going to give you a moment. It's a moment of silence to look at the Wyze Outdoor Cam, and go ahead. So yes, it looks like a Death Star, and you need to just prepare for this being the look. Now, there's a reason it looks like this, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But what you see as soon as you look at that device is you see the camera lens on the front, and above it you see a light sensor. Below it you see that big gaudy black cover that is covering a PIR sensor, and that's the big reason for that big ugly cover. It's covering that, it's blocking out certain types of light so as not to trigger the PIR sensor to motion record all the time based on light. This is a really important component. So it looks like that for a reason. Now, bottom right, we also see a microphone port, which is obviously going to be very important. Flipping around the camera on the back side, you will see a rubber covering over what is the charging port or the power port for this device, and you also see a status light. Now, the bottom of this device is just as interesting as anything because unlike the Wyze Cam here, which has this fully attached and it's difficult to remove without getting deep into the camera, the base is meant to be a magnetic removable base, and the reason for that is you have a couple of different mounting options here. You have ceiling mounting and you have wall mounting options, but underneath it all, and I should say we still have the setup or the reset button, and we do have a micro SD card slot on there as it stands today. Now, right in the middle looks to be a tripod mount, and this will give you kind of one of the first use cases outside of the norm. I think the intention is that you could use this as a trail cam and stick it on a tripod like many people have with their standard trail cameras. So that's one of the interesting little uses there that I've seen already with the device. We'll go into some more of the internals in a moment, but the base station is an important component here. It has two antennae on it for wireless transmission. It also has a power adapter, but it also has a USB port for charging the cameras themselves. So you can actually attach to the micro USB port a cable that you're going to get with this device and then charge the cameras because they have their own internal battery. Now, the base station, as I said, it'll be powered by the wall, but it also has a LAN power or a LAN port for connectivity options. So it remains to be seen whether or not for sure we'll be able to set up the base station with wireless and wired options, or if it will just be a wired option. My assumption, although this is not confirmed anywhere, is that they will have both options available. It will obviously work better with a full wired connection if you have a lot of cameras attached to the base station. Now, that's not a number we have access to either, is how many cameras will be attachable to this base station, but I expect in the end both indoor and outdoor cameras to be able to attach to this system. Now, the other thing about that base station is it has its own micro SD port, and this would lead us, and this is again not confirmed, to believe that we could locally record to that base station with our different cameras. How many at a time? that remains to be seen, and how effective that's going to be remains to be seen with the wireless transmission, which is one of the first internals I'm going to talk to you about. So internally, these cameras only have the ability to do 2.4 gigahertz wireless transmission. Now, they actually have the ability to do Bluetooth on the RF chip that's been included, but that's been turned off as of that FCC filing. So it does not look like Wyze will be using Bluetooth technology whatsoever in the Wyze Outdoor cameras. It does have that 2.4 gigahertz, but it's only wireless B, G, and N. So 802.11 B, G, and N. And that is a little bit of a reduction off of many of the Premier cameras, but I think it's a little bit expected when we talk about being battery powered, which is the other major component of this. So no wireless AC, no wireless AX, and that's kind of to be expected. Now, the battery is interesting to me, and we can do a quick comparison to a Blink XT, uses two AA batteries, and they say you're going to get 2 years of life. You're not, but anyways. The Wyze cams here, the Wyze Outdoor cameras, they actually have what a lot of you will recognize. I mean, I have these in my child's RC racer, and they're usually rechargeable, and they are in this case, and they stick them together in a pack of 4 and then they put them in, which is what physically makes the Wyze Outdoor camera larger than its predecessor here, the Wyze Cam V2. So you're going to see this be a little bit of a larger Death Star there for you. So now what they're saying is it is 19 to 24 watt hours available on that battery life. And if you looked at the base power requirements for the Wyze Outdoor camera, it's 5 volts at 1.5 amp maximum. But what we typically see in these is somewhere between 1 and 2 watts of usage all the time. And that's, you can be continuously recording to an SD card. So, you know what, you're not going to be replacing those batteries on a really regular basis in terms of, every couple of weeks or anything. I would expect a number of months and maybe up to a year off of that battery set pretty reliably with some reduced settings. You're not going to be continuously recording. Not at all, and you aren't going to have a lot of motion activations. And remember, that's why they have that cover on the front that makes it look like a Death Star. So I think what I'm saying to you is there's going to be some significant choices to be made in terms of battery power or powering by wall. So you still will be able to do that. When you look at the manual, there's a couple of things that'll jump out at a lot of people. Oh my gosh, it looks like 1 base station per camera. No, that's not happening. It looks like you can only charge through that back port. No, it is able to be powered all the time through your standard 120 volt connection and an adapter. So you're going to have the ability to put these in a number of different ways. It's going to perform a lot like these cameras, but better for the outdoor conditions. So I think it's looking like a great system, and I think it's going to line up within the overall Wyze system really well. The only things that I can kind of poke at a little bit, that wireless transmission, I feel like we should have the AC option a little bit, but if they think they can handle 16 cameras, then I think everyone will be happy with wireless N. The other thing is I'm not seeing any filings in any other countries again. I am seeing that the testing was done by a lab that can do Canadian radio frequency testing, but not necessarily CSA approval or ULC or any of that. So we have yet to see any other country look like they're going to get these cameras. I'm sure you guys have a ton of other questions related to this camera. I will give you whatever I can, and I am constantly researching to keep you updated. So make sure you join Automate Your Life by hitting that subscribe button. Otherwise, you can check out our other smart home news. We have a ton of great content. Thanks for watching, everyone. And of course, don't hate, automate.